Ladies and gentlemen, when God announces that something big is coming, it is not meant to be a moment of fear, but a moment of awakening. After 17 November, God is not merely preparing an event. He is preparing a divine interruption that will touch every area of your life that has been stagnant, delayed, or held back. This keynote centers on spiritual readiness, on the ability to recognize the signs, sense the shift, and understand the weight of God's voice when He speaks a prophetic word into the atmosphere. For months, some of you have carried a quiet stirring inside your heart. You couldn't explain it. You couldn't fully understand it. You just felt that something in your life was moving, shifting, changing. Even if nothing around, you seemed to reflect that change. That internal stirring was not your imagination. It was God awakening your spirit before revealing your next season. Every major move of God begins with an internal whisper. Before the breakthrough arrives in the natural world, it first arrives in your inner world. And the first keynote emphasizes this. God always speaks to your spirit before He shifts your circumstances. Many of you have been asking God questions in this season. Why is this taking so long? Well, did I lose that opportunity? Why did certain people walk away? Why do I feel like something big is coming, but I can't see anything yet? What you may not realize is that these questions are evidence that God is preparing you, sharpening you, and lifting you into alignment with what is coming after 17 November. God never lets a major blessing arrive without first reorganizing the path. He clears what does not belong. He removes the people who cannot walk with you. He closes the doors that would lead you into harm. He pulls you away from places that no longer fit your calling. And although these changes can feel painful, they are signs that God is on the move. This keynote teaches that God does not simply bless people, He prepares them to carry the blessing. If the blessing arrives before the heart is ready, it becomes overwhelming instead of empowered. That is why God has been allowing pressure to form you. Pressure builds strength. Pressure grows character. Pressure creates clarity. Every spiritual giant in Scripture went through seasons of stretching before stepping into their purpose. Joseph was stretched in the pit and the prison before reaching the palace. David was stretched in the fields before sitting on the throne. Moses was stretched in the wilderness before confronting Pharaoh. Stretching is not a sign of abandonment, but a sign of preparation. In your own life, everything that felt heavy, confusing, or delayed these past months was not meant to break you. It was meant to shape you for the blessing God is about to release. This keynote also reminds you that divine timing is intentional. God's timing is not random, and when He marks a specific moment, like after 17 November, it means heaven has scheduled something for your life. God's timing is precise, purposeful, and powerful. When the appointed time comes, nothing can delay what God has already ordained. People may try to block you, but they cannot stop you. Circumstances may shift, but they cannot derail you. Even your own past mistakes cannot cancel what God has spoken over your future. When God says something big is coming, it means all the forces of heaven are aligning to make it happen. Another essential part of this keynote is recognizing God's voice. You may not hear it loudly, but you will sense it deeply. God speaks through your spirit, through peace, through conviction, through signs, through opportunities, through unexpected clarity. When God is about to do something significant, He will give you a sense of anticipation. You will feel like you are standing on the edge of something new even before you see it. That sense is not emotion. It is revelation. It is God inviting you to prepare your faith for what is on the way. Because after 17 November, God is not sending a small shift. He is sending something that will surprise you, elevate you, renew you, and establish you. The blessing coming your way will not just answer a prayer. It will change the atmosphere of your life. It will move you from waiting into walking, from hoping into receiving, from surviving into living. God is not giving you something ordinary. He is giving you something that only He could orchestrate. Many people mistake silence for absence, delay for denial, and stillness for stagnation. But spiritual maturity teaches you that God does His greatest work in hidden places. Seeds grow underground before they ever break through the surface. Foundations are laid before buildings take shape. Roots deepen before branches expand. In the same way, God has been working in the quiet corners of your life, preparing something that required secrecy, protection, and time. If the blessing had been exposed too early, the enemy would have tried to sabotage it. If the opportunity had appeared before you were strengthened, you might have mishandled it. And if the breakthrough had been released before the right moment, it would not have carried the same impact. God hides what He values, and He reveals it only at the appointed time. This keynote highlights that after 17 November, things will begin to make sense in ways they never have. You will look back and realize that the detours were necessary. The speed bumps were intentional. The closed doors were merciful. The unanswered prayers were actually protection. God was not trying to frustrate you. He was preparing you. The things you lost were not losses. They were exchanges for something better. The people who left were not abandonment. They were divine separation. The situations that felt stuck were not failures. They were moments of spiritual rewiring. God was constructing a pathway that would not just bring a blessing, but sustain it. Part of God's hidden work involves positioning you where His promise can be fulfilled. Sometimes He moves you by shifting your internal desires. Suddenly, what you once wanted no longer satisfies you. The relationships that once felt comfortable begin to feel misaligned. The places you used to belong no longer feel like home. This discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something greater is coming. God is pushing you out of what is familiar so you can step into what is destined. He does not elevate you to remain in the same environment. He elevates you to place you where His calling can manifest fully. Another aspect of this keynote is spiritual timing. Divine timing is not just about the right moment. It is about the right version of you entering the right moment. God has been shaping your character, strengthening your faith, correcting your vision, and healing parts of you that you did not even realize were wounded. Sometimes you thought you were waiting on God. But in truth, God was waiting on you to grow, to heal, to let go, to mature, to become ready for the magnitude of what He planned to release. After 17 November, the version of you that steps into the blessing is not the same as the version began this journey. You've been transformed, even if that transformation has been quiet and gradual. This keynote also speaks to divine coordination. God has been aligning the right people to cross your path at the right time. Someone is being prepared to recommend you. Someone is being positioned to help you. Someone is being guided to bless you. Someone is being instructed to open a door for you that you cannot open on your own. Heaven has been organizing a chain reaction of favor that will unfold when the time is right. You are not walking into the future randomly. You are walking into an environment that God has already prepared for you. And every detail has been crafted with precision. The hidden work of God often comes with moments that feel confusing, but confusion is not chaos. It is transition. You were meant to outgrow certain stages. You were meant to outgrow certain people. You were meant to outgrow certain environments. Growth feels uncomfortable because you are expanding beyond the boundaries you once accepted. After 17 November, you will understand why God stretched you so intensely. You were being prepared for something bigger than what your old life could hold. This process of inner transformation often happens through seasons of pressure. When God wants to strengthen your faith, He allows situations that require faith. When He wants to grow your patience, He allows delays. When He wants to refine your wisdom, He allows moments where you must make difficult choices. When He wants to sharpen your discernment, He exposes you to environments where you must learn to distinguish between what is good and what is God. These experiences can feel uncomfortable, but they are proof that God is preparing you for something greater. Sometimes growth does not look like growth. It looks like struggle. It looks like confusion. It looks like letting go of things you once thought you could not live without. It looks like long nights of prayer and moments where you questioned everything except your faith in God. But in these very moments, God was shaping resilience inside you. He was teaching you how to stand when everything around you felt unstable. He was teaching you how to trust Him even when He was silent. He was teaching you how to remain faithful even when the outcome was uncertain. These kinds of lessons are not learned in easy seasons. They are learned when life presses you in ways you did not anticipate. This keynote also emphasizes emotional and mental transformation. Sometimes you ask God for a new season, but He first had to heal old wounds. He had to confront the insecurities, fears, doubts, and past disappointments that were still shaping your decisions. He had to break cycles of overthinking, self-sabotage, and emotional heaviness that would have destroyed the blessing He intends to give you. Emotional healing is part of spiritual preparation. God could not place something big into a heart still holding on to old pain. That is why this season felt like a stripping away. You were being freed from what no longer served your destiny. Another key part of this transformation is learning to see yourself the way God sees you. This is often the hardest part for many people. They trust God's greatness, but struggle to believe in their own potential. They believe God can do the impossible, but struggle to believe He can do it through them. The third keynote reveals that God has been quietly uprooting lies you believed about yourself and replacing them with truth. You have been growing in confidence, courage, identity, and divine purpose even when you didn't realize it. God was removing the thoughts that kept you small so He could prepare you for something that requires you to stand tall. After 17 November, the opportunities that come your way will require this new version of you. You will face doors you never expected would open for you, and you must walk through them boldly. You will receive favor in places where you once felt invisible, and you must accept it without fear. You will be offered responsibilities you once doubted you were ready for, and you must rise to the moment with faith. God is not bringing a blessing that fits the old you. He is bringing a blessing that matches who you have become. When God declares that something big is coming, He does not just prepare you internally. He begins to shift the atmosphere around you. After 17 November, many of the changes you will experience are not sudden miracles, but the unveiling of a spiritual shift that has already begun. This keynote focuses on the environment God is shaping around your life, the invisible battles He has already won on your behalf, and the divine alignment taking place in realms you cannot see, but will soon experience in undeniable ways. Very often, before a breakthrough arrives, the atmosphere begins to shift. You may notice small signs. People who were once close begin to drift. Opportunities once seemed certain fall apart. And your heart begins to sense that something is changing even if you cannot articulate what it is. These moments are not coincidences. They are key indicators that God is transforming your surroundings to prepare the perfect environment for the blessing He is sending. Just as a seed cannot grow in hard soil, your promise could not grow in the environment you were in before. God had to soften the ground, remove the weeds, and adjust the climate of your life before the seed of your breakthrough could flourish. Sometimes God changes your environment by removing people who cannot be part of your next level. Not every person who walked with you can walk into your future with you. Some people were connected to your past pain, not your future purpose. Others were attached to your comfort zone, not your calling. Still others carried doubts, fears, or negativity that would have contaminated what God is preparing to release. Their absence is not rejection. It is divine protection. God removes who go so that what He is sending can grow. This shift in relationships is one of the clearest signs that something big is on its way. Another atmospheric shift takes place in spiritual battles you know nothing about. You have no idea how many attacks God blocked, how many traps He dismantled, how many spiritual battles He fought on your behalf while you were sleeping, working, or worrying. When God is preparing a major breakthrough, the enemy always tries to interfere. But God steps in long before the enemy even gets close. You only see the victory, but you don't see the war God fought to give you that victory. The fourth keynote reminds you that heaven has been actively working for your good, clearing paths, silencing opposition, and breaking chains you never even realized were trying to form around you. Sometimes God creates a shift in the atmosphere by making you restless. When your spirit is outgrowing your situation, comfort becomes uncomfortable. What used to satisfy no longer does. What used to feel normal begins to feel too small. This restlessness is often misunderstood as anxiety or confusion, but in reality, it is spiritual transition. God is preparing to elevate you, and your spirit is sensing that elevation even before your mind understands it. This restlessness is a sign that after 17 November, you are stepping into a space that matches your calling, not your past limitations. Another part of this keynote is about divine alignment. God is positioning the right opportunities, the right timing, the right connections, and the right experiences to converge in your life at the perfect moment. You may not see it happening, but every detail is being arranged. Someone you will meet soon is already thinking about you without knowing your name. An opportunity meant for you is being delayed just enough to meet you at the right moment. A door that was closed is about to be reopened because now is the time it will bless you, not break you. Divine alignment means your blessing is not coming randomly. It is coming intentionally at the exact time God has ordained. The atmosphere around you is also shifting in terms of favor. Things that once felt hard will begin to feel easier. Processes that used to take long will begin to accelerate. Ideas that once seemed impossible will suddenly gain clarity. You may even notice people treating you differently, opportunities appearing unexpectedly, or doors opening without the usual struggle. This is not luck. This is not coincidence. This is evidence that favor has begun to surround your life. When God breathes on your path, things begin to move with supernatural ease. After 17 November, the spiritual favor around you will become visible in remarkable ways. When God announces that something big is coming, He is not only preparing your heart, your environment, and your path. He is preparing your identity. After 17 November, the magnitude of what God is releasing into your life requires a stronger, wiser, bolder, and more spiritually awake version of you. This keynote focuses on the transformation of who you are becoming, because the blessing that is coming is designed for the person you are growing into, not the person you used to be. God is calling you to rise into your own destiny with a renewed sense of inner strength and divine authority. Too often, people pray for a bigger life while holding on to a smaller identity. They want promotion, but doubt their own worth. They want breakthrough, but fear the responsibility that comes with it. They desire change, but cling tightly to comfort. But God will never place a big future into the hands of someone who still sees themselves through the lens of old failures, old wounds, and old insecurities. This keynote reveals that God has been gently, consistently transforming the way you see yourself. He has been breaking the lies, dismantling the fears, and healing the emotional scars that once limited your confidence. He has been teaching you to release the version of yourself that was shaped by survival, and embrace the version shaped by purpose. This internal identity shift often emerges during moments of discomfort. When God begins elevating your identity, you start noticing that the things you once tolerated no longer feel acceptable. You no longer settle for less than what God intended. You no longer allow people to treat you in ways that diminish your worth. You no longer remain silent in moments where you should speak. You no longer hide your gifts just to make others comfortable. This inner rise is a sign that God is preparing you for something big. He's expanding yourself, understanding to match the size of the blessing He is about to release. Part of this identity transformation involves recognizing the authority God has placed within you. Every struggle you survived was strengthening your spiritual backbone. Every season of waiting was expanding your patience. Every battle that felt overwhelming was building resilience that you will soon need. This keynote reveals that the version of you that will step forward after 17 November carries a quiet but powerful authority that was not present before. You have been growing in ways you did not even notice. Your spirit has become more stable. Your faith has become more rooted. Your perspective has become clearer. The storms you went through did not break you. They built you. This keynote also speaks of courage because stepping into a divine season requires bravery. Many people miss their blessings because they fear the magnitude of what God is offering them. They are more comfortable with familiar pain than unfamiliar promise. But God has been strengthening your courage through every challenge you faced. You learned to stand alone. You learned to keep moving even when the road was unclear. You learned to trust God in seasons when you had no choice but to lean on Him. This courage is now part of your identity, and after 17 November, you will find yourself making decisions with confidence that would have felt impossible a year ago. Another part of this identity shift is vision. God cannot release a big blessing into someone who still thinks small. He had to stretch your imagination, broaden your dreams, and shift your mindset so you could finally see beyond your limitations. Many of the ideas, desires, or sudden passions that have awakened in you recently are not random. They are divine indicators of who you are becoming. God has been revealing glimpses of your future so you can walk toward it with clarity instead of fear. This keynote also reveals that God has been restoring pieces of you that you lost along the way. Maybe life drained your joy, and God has been restoring it quietly. Maybe disappointments dimmed your passion, and God has been reigniting it. Maybe past rejection damaged your confidence, and God has been rebuilding it. After 17 November, you will feel more like yourself. Not the version shaped by hurt, but the version shaped by hope. You will feel spiritually lighter, emotionally stronger, and mentally sharper. This restoration is part of God preparing your identity for the blessings ahead. The transformation of your identity is not just for you. It is also for the assignment God is placing upon your life. The opportunities coming require wisdom. The relationships coming require discernment. The responsibilities coming require maturity. The doors opening require faith. The blessings arriving require humility and gratitude. God has been crafting these qualities within you so that when the moment arrives, you will handle it with strength, grace, and integrity. In conclusion, the fifth keynote teaches that God never releases a big blessing into a small version of you. He has been elevating your identity, removing old limitations, restoring your inner strength, healing your wounds, expanding your vision, and shaping your character for the new season that begins after 17 November. Every hardship built the resilience you will need. Every delay built the patience you will require. Every prayer strengthened the faith you must carry. Every shift in your environment prepared you for the next level. And now you are stepping into the season where your identity matches your destiny. Something big is coming, and God has made sure that the person you are becoming is fully prepared to receive it and walk in it with power.